Were you wearing Jacob Big Farm khakis?
Yeah, with the red shirt. You just need income statement, bro. Dude, I want to go work at State Farm.
Bro, I know it's my dream.
All right, any questions on the homework?
I'll do that question.
Questions on the homework?
I didn't finish.
No questions?
No.
All right, let's grade this real quick. I'm gonna do this quickly. Get ready. Hey, some of you guys are not putting how many you missed on the top. Make sure you put how many you missed on the top. Here we go. Number 2 is -5. Number 4 is 3. Number 6 is 0. Number 8 is -4. Number 10 is -10.5. Number 12 is -5.3. Number 14 is -21. Number 16 is 15.5. Number 18 is -0.2. Number 20 is 0. Number 22 is 0.07. Number 24 is 7.5. Number 26 is -7.7. Number 28 is -0.003. Number 30 is very small, -0.00625. Number 32 is -5. Number 34 is 5.3. Number 36 is -0.4. 38 is -0.3125. Number 40 is 9.6. Number 42 is 5. Boy, did they give you a painful one here. Number 44 is -0.78125. And that's it. Put how many you missed on the top? Who's collecting?
I'll collect.
All right.
Wait,
Collect.
I need one.
Pass out.
Can I go back? I know, sure one.
You never did your homework. Put -20 on the top, please.
Can you repeat 12?
Circle it on grade.
No, I did it, but I forgot to do
I think I
it.
just wrote down.
I was busy.
That can happen.
Yeah, I think it's.
You went to go play basketball. You should
He did not go for that.
have yeah, you're going to play basketball. I need to go bathroom. Can I go bathroom quick?
No.
No, please. Please.
Let's wait till we come to a natural break.
But right now is a break.
Nope. All right, I do have your quizzes graded. It is in the grade book, and I don't have my grade book open, so I don't remember. Did everyone already take the quiz?
I got 42 out of 50.
If I have time, I will hand it out at the end of class. Here is your homework. Copy it down, please.
You would get it back there or no?
Yeah, at the end of class.
Wait, is this the word problems?
No?
Yes.
Because it is 15.
Today is a somewhat challenging class. Oh, it's not exponents. It is negative exponents that you did not see last year. Last year we had a class of exponents. This year we've talked about exponents. Now we get negative exponents. Yes.
Is it just like when you multiply it, it's like -6 to the third power, so it's -6 times -6?
No. Wouldn't that be easy? But no, it's not like that. All right. I would absolutely not attempt to try to do this until I teach this to you, because you've never had this class before. And when the one kid who got a perfect paper on his quiz doesn't know what he's doing, then you guys don't know what he's doing. What you're doing.
Who got the perfect paper?
Who was the kid that asked me a question?
I asked you a
You
question.
didn't ask me a question.
What?
Yeah, but none of
Because I actually got to do it before the quiz.
All right, here we go. Negative exponents. So as the name implies, we're going to see exponents, but they're going to be negative. Right? We got a class on exponents. What do we know so far? What do we know? Go ahead, Jade.
That it's repeated multiplication.
Repeated multiplication. What else we know?
That is not
It's not the base times the power, correct? Unless it's 1 to the first or 2 to the second, right? Do we know anything else? Don't we know how to multiply with exponents?
Yeah.
Okay, how do we multiply with exponents? How do we do 2 to the third times 2 to the fifth?
You write 2, 3, 2, 5.
Well, that would be the long way. What's the short way? What do? We add the exponent. We rewrite the base. We add the exponents. That's the sum total of our knowledge on x. Now, granted, I mean, we can actually get to a simplified answer, but that's the sum total of our knowledge on exponents. Okay? You don't need to write this down. We did it before. It's a way of showing repeated multiplication. Thank you for remembering that. The big number is called the, and by big number, I mean the physically large number is called the base, and the small number is called the exponent or power, right? We read 2 squared, we read 3 cubed. So this is 2 cubed or 2 to the third power, okay? To simplify it, we write 2 3 times and do the math with multiplication, that's 8. Okay, you've seen that slide before. The second thing we did, which I just talked about, I said, what is the rule for multiplication? It's a paradoxical rule. Paradox means it's funny, the relationship between the two, something strange about it. We say it's the multiplication rule, but what do you actually do? You add. So for multiplication, you add. So the multiplication rule says rewrite the base, add the exponents. My explanation, this was that slide that I showed you before. Well, if you were to expand it out, that would be 3 5s and 4 5s. That gives me a total of 7 5s. So if we wrote 7 5s in exponential form, that would be 5 to the 7th power. That's where we get the rule that when you're multiplying common bases, you add the exponents. Okay? Yes?
Is there such thing as an exponent?
There is. Absolutely. You will not see that until, I don't even know if you see it in Algebra 2, but we'll certainly see it pre-calculus, calculus. All right. So the rule is if you have same bases, the bases must be the same. If you don't have same bases, none of this works. All right. You simply rewrite the base and add the exponents. Further, the other two things that you didn't mention is what is anything to the first power? It's cell. What is anything to the 0 power other than 0? Is 1. Okay? So think about this. If I had 2 to the third, which we know is 8, right? And if I wrote 2 to the second, we know that is, and we know that 2 to the first is what? Somebody said 0. And 2 to the 0 is, notice the pattern. How did I go from here to here to here to here? I'm not subtracting, I'm dividing, right? So what am I dividing by? I'm dividing by the base, right? So if we continue this pattern, what would be the next power? If we continue the pattern, 3, 2, 1, 0, it would be 2 to the negative 1, right? And okay, so I had that. 2 to the negative 1, so let's continue the pattern. You said it's divided by 2. Well, what's 1 divided by 2? 0.5. I'm going to choose to write that as a half. Okay? We'll continue the pattern. What's the next number? What's the next number? 2 to the negative 2 power. Well, let's divide that by 2. What's a half divided by 2? And I'm going to choose not to write 1/4. I'm going to choose to write it as 1/2 to the second power. I'm going to choose to write that as 1/2. Where is my 1/2 to the second power? 1/2 to the second power. Continue the pattern. Okay, well, cut a fourth in half and you get 1/8. But I'm going to choose to write that as 1/2 to the third power. So guess what negative exponents actually do? Do the same thing as positive exponents, except they are written as a fraction over 1. That's what negative exponents do. How come I didn't write? Okay, here we go. I was pretty sure I wrote this correctly. So 2 can be written as 2 to the first. 4 can be written as 2 squared. 8 can be written as 2 cubed. It's the same pattern. It's just written over 1. Yes? No, it is. It's the same thing. All right. So write this down, please, box 1. This is the general rule. That if you have a base to a negative power, you write a 1, you put a fraction bar, you write the base, and you write the power, and we get rid of the negative symbol. Some people like to think of this as this. You see that? So all it does is it moves the top to the bottom. It moves the bottom to, it's a reciprocal, but we get rid of the negative exponent. Okay? That's the general rule for this. This gets a little bit more complicated next year when we have negatives on the top and the bottom of the fraction. I'll explain it when we get there, but we won't see that today. Cool? That's not too bad. What do kids forget to do? For some reason, they forget to get rid of the negative. I don't know why. They kind of remember it turns into a fraction, but they forget to get rid of the negative. You're like, how does a negative turn into a fraction? Well, I just proved it to you why it is. So today you're going to be doing math with negative exponents. Okay? 4 to the negative 2 is really 1 over 4 squared, which is
Oh my God.
which is 1/16, right? 3 to the negative 2 is really 1 over 3 squared, which is really 1/9. Yes? Stop me if you're lost. Kai, what am I doing? Turning to a fraction, I'm just putting it at the bottom. The numerator is always 1. And then I'm simplifying 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. Jenna, what's the answer? Tell me what to do. Talk. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to write. You can do this, Jenna. You got to be able to explain it. The first step, when you see something to a negative power, is to write what? Write a 1, and then a fraction bar, and then what? Just talk, please.
You said then put a 1 over it.
I don't know if you're learning this if you don't talk. I do not know. Right? But I do know every test when I grade, whether you know it or not. All right, so 1 over 1,000. Everybody good? All right. This one's a bit more troublesome. What do you notice?
It's both negative, so the
Okay. This negative has nothing to do with whether you make a fraction or not. It's this negative. But notice, it's not the 2 or even the negative 2 that's to the negative 4th power. It's the parentheses that are to the negative 4 power. So I put the parentheses and whatever's inside underneath of a 1. See what I did? Do you remember the rule for parentheses? Right? And even powers? So how many parentheses negative 2 am I writing? So what's negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2?
2 on 4.
Well, how many negatives did I just have from yesterday's class?
it was
4, so it's going to be positive or negative? Going to be positive. 2 times 2 is 4. I always, when I do 2 of powers, I use my fingers. First 2 means 2 times 2. That would be 3 times, that would be 3 2s. That would be 4 2s, that would be 5 2s. Because I can count by 2s pretty easy, so can you. All right, let's do box 2 together. Here we go. When you see a negative power, it's 1 over that base to a positive power. Now simplify. 4 squared is? Agreed. And the part where I said none of you know what you're doing, listen to the class. That was for a purpose. So 1 over 16. All right. Key pro tip. What is 1 to any power? What is 1 to any power?
The number.
It's going to be 1. It doesn't matter how many times 1, you can times it 40 billion times, you get 1. It doesn't matter if it's to a negative exponent. Why not?
Because it's 1.
Better definition or explanation than that. Why is even a negative power the answer still 1?
1 times anything. No.
Better explanation.
1 times negative 1 is 1. 1 times.
We're not multiplying by a negative 1 at all here. How do you write negative exponents? How do you write negative? How? You start with 1 and you put the number on the bottom. Well, what number am I putting on the bottom? Well, what's 1 divided by 1? That's why 1 to any power. Positive, negative, to include the number. Positive or negative, to include the number 0. What's 0 to any? What's any number to 0 power?
1.
That's why 1 to any power. Be careful with that. I should say anti-integer power. You're not going to see this for many years, but if there's a decimal or fraction, that's different. Oh yes, not this year. But 1 to any integer power is the number 1. I don't need to do any work on that one. If I want to, I can. I still get 1. Right? Remember, if there's parentheses, you must include the parentheses. Is the answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Why?
No, it's gonna be positive.
Why?
Because
1 divided by 1 is 1.
We're not dividing by 1 here.
Oh, right. It's going to be
Jackson, why is the answer positive?
because a negative times negative.
Keep talking.
So it'd be 5 times negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5.
So keep talking.
What do you want me to say?
You said the answer's positive, and I said keep talking. And then you tried to explain it. Keep talking.
And it would be negative. I don't even get what you're.
Can I help him?
No, he's going to fix himself eventually.
It would be negative.
Why would it be a negative and not a positive?
Because
Hi. Why would it be a negative and not a positive?
I don't know. I'm confused.
How many negatives would there be?
3.
What was the rule that we just learned the last 2 days, last 2 classes? If you have an even number of negatives, the answer is always. Now you're just kind of guessing, but why is it positive?
I don't know.
Because remember, if it's an even number, they pair up. What's a negative times a negative? So you only have pairs of negative each
So
time.
that would be a negative.
That would be a negative because there's always that one extra negative hanging out. So this one is negative. Who's lost? Do these 3, please. Box 3, and then we're moving on. What? What is this for?
Because I want to check my work.
Well, then get your work done first, and then we'll do the checking.
But like this is.
Okay. Close the mouth and do some math. Thank you. Anybody need help? You got it this time? You sure? Okay. You are going to, I'm going to call to the people. You're going to say whether they're right or right or inright, unright. I can't speak to it. Right
Right
or
wrong.
richtig oder falsch.
What?
That's German for right or incorrect.
Okay.
Right or wrong. True or false.
Well,
All right, David, first one, final answer. Jackson,
He's right.
he is right. Good job. So we put 1 over 5 squared, that's 1 over 25. Hannah, middle one, what do you got? What do you think the intermediary steps are? And before we get to the answer. Okay. Keep talking.
And then, it would be 1 over 12.
Because 3 times 4 is 12. Good job.
I'm gonna hurt
Guess.
that.
No,
No,
not
right.
12.
Yes, exactly. It will never be
Oh, I'm
that.
high for the last one.
It would be, you just got to tell me what you're thinking. So tell me what that first step, you said 1 over, what am I writing?
1 over 3.
Oh, I'm high for the last one.
Jackson, to the what? Never, when you flip it,
Oh.
it always becomes positive. So how many 3s do I got now? 4 of them. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. So 1 over 81. Jackson, was that right?
Yes.
Okay.
me,
Call him
me,
high for the
me,
last one.
me,
Oh,
me.
I'm
All right, Grayson, what do you got? Last
Let's
one.
go.
high. Dang.
It's 6.
It's not one.
Hush, let Grayson talk. He said 1 over
He's
9.
correct.
He's correct.
5.16.
There's a lot of numbers. Kai, guess what it never is? The base times the power, except for 1 to the first or 2 squared. Okay? And this time it's not that one, so we do get 1/9. 1/9. Next idea. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, remember this?
Yeah.
This said, if the bases are the same, what do you do with the powers? Okay, guess what we're going to do now? Same thing, except one of the powers, or maybe both, will be. That's all we're doing. The rule doesn't change. Oh, you apparently know how to add positive and negative integers. Let's see if that's true or not. So, are the bases the same?
Yeah.
So, rewrite the base, add the exponent. What do you get?
2
To the 5th power. Be careful. Paradoxically, the multiplication rule doesn't say to multiply, it says to add the exponents. Okay? 2 to the 5th is 32. Let's see. 5 fingers. 2 times 2 is 2 times 2 is
4, 8, 16.
That always helped me. All right. Hey, I don't care that it's a 0, because what do you do with the exponents? You add them. 0 plus 4 is?
4.
This was on the quiz, and many of you guys are wrong. 0 plus 4 is 4. 2 to the 4th is 16. It'd be, divide that one by 2. All right, here we go. So now we have negative exponents. So what 2 numbers am I adding?
The 6 and the negative.
I personally would write it down so that you can visually see it. Okay, here we go. Some of you still can't do this. You ready?
Yeah.
Same or different signs?
Different.
Does that mean add or subtract? Subtract the numbers.
3.
Do you have more positives or more negatives?
Positive.
How come when I say those words, you get it right?
Because it make it simple.
Yeah, but I'm not telling you what the answers are. I'm just saying the same darn questions. When I'm grading the quiz and I see you get it wrong, right? Shame on you. If you get it right every time I say those magic words, same or different signs, add or subtract, then you do whatever it is you decide. And then I say more positives, more negatives, you get it right every time. Yet when I give you a quiz, you know, a quarter of you have no clue of what you're doing. I didn't get a quarter of the people not saying anything. That was almost the entire class speaking. Those are the words that need to be in your head when you do adding, subtracting, positive, and negative numbers. Hey, same or different signs, add or subtract. On the quiz, nearly the entire class, I think it was that, got that one wrong. You ready?
Wait, what was it?
Same or different signs,
Same.
add or subtract.
It was. I told
If the signs are the same, you always,
Add.
when the signs are different, you always.
you.
Subtract.
Wait, so would that be
So add the numbers.
positive 9?
Okay, what were you adding? Positive or negative numbers? Where do you see positive numbers there?
I knew.
Where do you see positive numbers? They're both negative. It says -3, -6. Okay, -3, -6. Remember, negative and subtract are the same. These are the same signs. You add 3 plus 6 is 9. You're adding negatives, so -9. Most of you got that question wrong on the test. Okay. All right. Oh, back to ours. What did we say the final answer was?
3.
2 to the 3rd power. What is 2 to the 3rd power?
8.
That is 8. One more. Here we go.
Oh,
Don't screw this up. Same or different signs?
Different. Same. Same.
Add or subtract?
Subtract. Why you tell me messed up?
I'm not doing anything. I'm just asking the questions. So add the 2 numbers.
6. 5.
Were you adding positives or negatives? So it's not the final answer. So the answer is 2 to the, you were adding negatives. So 2 to the -5th. We got to stop there. If you're really confused, I got to help you. But if you're making silly mistakes, that's a different story. Are we okay that the answer, well, it's not the answer, it's not yellow. Are we okay that the intermediate answer is 2 to the -5? Do you understand where I got the -5 from?
Yeah.
All right, you got a negative power. What are you supposed to do now?
You can do the fraction.
a fraction thingy. I put it to the bottom and I make it positive. 2 to the 5th. 2 times 2.
4, 5,
8,
32.
16, 32. You guys are not inspiring me with a lot of confidence here. All right, same or different signs?
Different.
So add or subtract? Subtract those two numbers.
2.
More negatives, more positives.
Negative.
So we get 2 to the negative 2, which is fraction. 2 to the positive 2 power, therefore. 1/4. Okay, now we got to get serious for a second. Not that we weren't serious, but you know what I mean. Is someone lost? Okay, I'm not saying that you can get the right answer because you messed up the adding the positive negative. That's a separate problem. But do you understand what to do with exponents?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. Box 4, let's do it together. Just be careful. I'm giving you nothing but like bases. When the bases are not the same, you can't do any of this. All you can do is expand it out. All right, we do have same bases. Same or different signs? Add or subtract? Subtract those numbers. Okay, well, 2, but more negatives, more positives. Now, most people like Grayson are going to, because they know how this game is played now, you're just going to say negative 2 because you're already jumping to the answer. All right, so we get 7 to the negative 2 power, which is 1 over 49, because 7 squared is 49. Am I going too fast? It's your job to stop me and be brave, like I am lost. If not, I'm moving on. All right, same or different signs. So add or subtract. Add those two numbers. 3, you're adding negatives, so negative 3. Okay, so how do you write this?
1 over
Parentheses to the 3rd power. Jackson, is the answer going to be positive or negative?
It's going to be negative.
Why?
Because it's not an even number.
Perfect, now you got it. So by the way, what's the answer?
Oh.
Well, tell me what to multiply.
What's 4 times 4? Never mind.
I thought you were going to ask the harder question, not the what is 4 times 4.
Wait, what are you talking
What is 16 times 4?
Wait, 16? Oh, shoot.
about? I'm going to write this down.
Oh, shoot.
What is it? No,
No,
what is it? 1 over 64.
Dang.
1 over negative 64, because Jackson said we have 3 of them odd, so the answer is negative. We feeling at least a little bit confident?
Yes.
All right.
Wait, a little bit.
Yes,
How are they?
because it's to the 3rd power, right? So it'll be 3 of these parentheses negative 4. All right, same or different signs, box 6. So add or subtract? Add those suckers. Were we adding negatives or positives? You literally say both answers. Okay. So what's the answer? 2 to the negative 6. All right. That would be what?
128.
1 over 2 to the 6. And now we got to do some math. All right, I don't have 6 fingers. 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16,
64.
32, 64. So 1 over 64. Hey, I don't care that it's a 0. You just simply add. What's negative 2 plus 0? 2?
No, it's 3.
Negative 2.
What's 0 added to anything?
0.
No!
It's 1.
All right. Itself. Okay, now hold on, Kai, hold on a second. If we're talking about adding, and we're adding 0, then nothing changes. Now, Kai actually said something a bit better. He said that anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is really the number 1. So this is really this. What's anything times 1? So it's really this is the, well, the intermediary answer. Now, if you do want to add negative 2 plus 0 is still negative 2. So there's 2 different explanations to get to that answer right there, Jackson. Answer's positive or negative. Why?
Because it's an even number.
There's an even number of negative numbers there. There's 2 negative 4s. So 1 over negative 4 to the 2nd power, which is not 8 because it is never the base times the power. Jenna, were you going to say 1 over 16? Okay. Cool? All right. How about this one?
Oh. Oh.
Don't overthink it. Same or different symbols?
Same.
Who said same?
One over
I did
one.
it.
So,
I just said that.
different means add or subtract. Subtract the two numbers. What's anything to the 0 power?
No, I just said it.
So therefore the answer is,
One.
the answer is
One.
1.
I got every single one right.
I haven't even shown you every single one.
Raise your hand back.
All right, how about this one?
Oh,
Hey,
That one makes
are the bases the same?
Yes.
So we can add these 3 numbers. Okay, this one is a little bit of work
add the
involved.
negatives first.
So we can add these. So we have to go in what direction?
Left or right?
Gotta go left or right. Same or different?
Different.
So subtract.
One.
More positives, more negatives.
Negative. Positive.
So I'm gonna rewrite that. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, I just wrote the answer. Sorry. So I didn't write it in your stuff. So if I were, it would say 6 to the 1 minus 2. Same or different?
No, it's positive.
There was more positives than negatives.
Yeah, so then it would go to.
Positive 1 minus, same or different signs?
Different.
Different. So add or subtract.
Oh
So
my God.
when the signs are different, you need to have this written on a piece of paper.
Oh,
Different signs mean subtract, same signs mean add. So subtract those two numbers, we get 1. More negatives, more positives. So that's why the answer is click is -1, which is
yes.
what? Yeah, but it's not 6, it's 1 over 6. All right. I didn't put the intermediary stuff in. New game. What is that? Okay, now you got to turn your brains on if you weren't thinking for the last 10 minutes because you got it pretty quickly. So here's what it says. It says 5 to some power is 25. So what's the answer? And he's got to equal to 2, right? 5 squared is 25. So n equals 2. These will be slightly challenging. If you have your squares, your cubes memorized, it's not too bad. If you don't, this can be very challenging. You'll have to go through every single possibility. What's 5 to the first? 5 to the second. And that's how you find your answer. Okay? Hey, what's 5 to the first? What's 5 to the second? 5 to the third.
125.
Notice this doesn't say 125, it says 1 over the 125. We just found that 5 to the third power is 125, yes? So guess what the final answer would be? Look at the answer. What do you think? N equals what? Well, n equals 3, then it would be 125. That's not what the answer says. It says 1 over 125. So it's got to be a -3. Because I know that 5 to the third is 125. Right? These can be a little bit tricky. Right? So n equals -3. All right, box 6. Hey, if you don't know this off the top of your head, then you start with 1. What's 3 to the first? 3 to the second. 3 to the third. You just found the answer.
Easy.
Okay?
Oh, I got the
Hey, what's 2 to the first?
2, 4, 6,
2 to the second.
4,
2 to the third.
8,
16, 32.
64.
You just found it out. So this one, be careful because it doesn't say 2 to the n. It says 2 to the.
Negative n.
So n is going to be.
Negative 2.
If you made it -6, then it would say -6, and that's a +6. So they're trying to trick you here. If they already say it's negative, then n's just plain old 6. If they said n was positive from the start, then n would be -6. Wow, we finished right on time. What do you know? All right, have a good weekend. Do something fun.
Wait, take your trash.
All right, e-learners, I will catch you next week. If you have not done your quiz, you must get your quiz done. Get your quiz done. It is on Microsoft Teams.